The Faltering Ranks raid is here, and today I want to show you the level 100 with 4 Prowlers for as low repair as I can manage. Hey everyone, Derpy here, and welcome back to another Battle Pirates video. As I get started, I want to remind everyone that my build document is available in the YouTube description 100% for free, although it is made possible by channel members. More on that later. I'll talk about the build at the end of the video, but let's go ahead and get into the target. As I run through this target, I want to just tell you that I'm using 4 ships. One of them is X1, a few of them, including the flagship, are at U2. The one ship at X1 is really helpful and was done possible through the Pillage Participation Prize and 5 upgrade tokens from the TLC. Not quite as high upgraded as usual, but that's because the lab upgrades didn't really exist at the start of this series because of the new outpost level. Now, as I get started, I'm going to mention I am going through this target more slowly than I usually do, just so I can show you the different turrets and interactions. You're going to want to actually try and go through as fast as possible yourself, because your splash should stay built up the entire time for you to kill things as quickly as possible. The first turret you can just outrange, there's nothing tricky to that one. The second turret cluster, you want to make sure you get close and click on the radioactive launcher. Go ahead and make sure you're in the minimum range of the harpoon style turret. He's going to do a little bit of damage to you. You don't really have to worry about these ballistic turrets too much if you have a high evade flagship, which is very, very important, and more on that at the end of the video. The turret I'm going to click on in the third cluster is actually going to be the one with wings on it right here. That's because what this guy does is he essentially shoots at himself and does an increase in splash damage around him. If you don't kill it quickly, it's going to actually start to do a bunch of splash damage to you, which you want to make sure you avoid. Now, the next turret cluster is going to be interesting. I'm going to actually try and ignore most of that. I'll kill the one that actually does damage to me, but then switch my focus to the command center building right here. What this command center building does is it allows the decimator to target me and start shooting at me. Now, in the level 100, different than the 101, this guy has a really, really high projectile speed, and you cannot outrun this. So I'm going to kill the radioactive launcher turret, then the command center building as quickly as possible, because you can't avoid these damage from these decimators. So let's make sure we do that, and I'll actually try and duck off to the right so I'm away from the short-range chain gun type turret right here. So he's shooting at me, and it's a very, very high projectile speed. I can't actually avoid that or outrun that, which is why I'm just sitting there. And as soon as I kill the command center, this turret dies, which is pretty nice. You might notice the tactical labs right here, which are for some reason on land. In this target, it just outputs a slow field. Nothing too much to worry about that one. You can avoid it, and there's no turrets targeting you in here anyway. Next turret cluster, going to go ahead and get close to that one. There's a few radioactive turrets actually doing damage to me. I'll try and get those down pretty quickly, maybe even before they unstun. The X1 upgrade is really nice for the stun ability because it gives it a 20 splash, which means that you can now stun an entire cluster at once, which is really nice. Let's go ahead and move into range of these 2 harpoon-style turrets right here. If I'm inside the minimum range, that's fine, and I'll be able to avoid most damage from that. The last cluster actually has 4 pretty powerful turrets. We have a radioactive kind of launcher turret, looks like a railgun, the old javelin, and then 2 radioactive guys, and then also the command center outpost right here. I'm going to click on that one and try to stay moving around a little bit because that should help against everything here. Hopefully the stun will mean I'll be able to kill things pretty quickly before they start shooting at me again, and hopefully before they actually get a shockwave off on me, because that is a little bit annoying. There's the target, but I have a few things left to mention in terms of the damage, target mechanics, the build, and actually the projectile effects and what you can do if you don't see shockwaves or you don't even want to see some of this stuff. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword. In terms of the repair or the damage taken, looks like a pretty even split. 16% some have resisted and taken there, and then 7% some have resisted and taken for radioactive. So more damage here was ballistic, nothing too bad though. In terms of the repair time, the initial blank repair time here is actually going to be 11 minutes, but we are going to need to recall and check the flagship because most of the damage will be on the flag. The back few ships only take splash damage, and the build is the same for all of them, although 1 or 2 of these are at U2, one's at X1. So 1 ship at X1, 1 ship at U2, a second ship at U2. Just keep that in mind here when you're comparing to maybe your own 5-ship fleet. I have 4 ships with one of these at X1. You might have 5 at U2. And the flagship for me is U2. It would be nice to get this one up to U3. It is a really high evade build. As you can see here, the evade is 90% with a Sea Serpents and with Alliance bonuses. Let's go ahead and recall that while I tell you about the projectile effects. If you go to your settings at the top right, you have some effects. You have projectile, explosions, and particle effects. If you want to see everything going on in this target, both of these need to be on. That's to see things like shockwaves and see the turret that shoots at itself. If you turn these off, you won't see those, but you also won't see the massive orange ring which your own ships, maybe it's your own heavy weapons, are spitting out with an increasing splash. I think I'm going to turn it off, although that means I'm not actually going to see when I take damage and what's shooting at me, which is really annoying. I wish Kixeye had some other setting or didn't have such rampant graphics. Out of the 11-minute repair time, as you can see, 5 minutes and 5 seconds are on the back 4 ships, which means that the flagship is going to have 6 minutes of damage. So this is going to be an 11-minute repair target, although a lot of those you can get through. So just 57 seconds worth of actual time to wait for this target. If anything, that means the evade on this flagship should be a little bit higher, although it's not really going to be possible to do that very easily. If I could, I would try and get this thing a little higher, although again, it's really the highest possible. It's just going to take a little bit of luck. Maybe next time I hit it, I get below a 5-minute one. Maybe next time it is 7 minutes. I hope this video did help. If it did, go ahead and share it with someone in your alliance. I also want to give a huge thank you to the channel members whose names appear on the end screen now. They're helping keep videos like this one possible, and their names are in the YouTube description and on the build stock as well. If you want your name added on here, click the join button below the YouTube video, and that will get you on here every month. With that said, and until next time, this is going to be Derpy signing out, helping you be a better pirate.